I'm really excited to have Riad on. Riad, one thing before we get into the stuff that we're going to talk about on the call, for anybody, I feel like we have a lot of new people on this call. We have 80 people on. Could you do a quick introduction of yourself and then really quickly talk about annual convention?
Here, I've been with Family First Life for about 23 months now. I was in sales before this. I did travel sales for almost 7 years, all over the phone. Heard about the company through my good friend Erica, saw what she was doing here, and it only took me, I think she was here for like 2 months, and I figured out right away how good this business model was. And I 3 weeks in, I quit my job to do this full time. So one of the biggest things for me starting is I went to annual convention like 2 weeks before I started. I got licensed, I was in contracting, doing the boot camps, all that stuff. And we happened to have a convention in Phoenix, so it worked out perfect. I literally sat front row. I had my little notepad and I sat there for 3 days and I filled that thing up with information on how to make 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month. So I literally knew exactly what to do because of that convention, and everyone that was telling me how to do it was already doing that, right? So I had a proven system. I knew what to do, and that was it. I followed it exactly as they said. They said, spend this much on leads. I spent this much on leads. They said, dial until you have 15 appointments. I dialed until I had 15 appointments. And in the beginning, it took me 13-hour days to hit those 15 appointments, but I did it because that's what they said to do. So if you guys have not been to an annual convention yet, I would recommend, like, if you're doing this and you're serious about this, you need to go. If you don't go, you are not serious about this, and you are losing so much value. And I truly mean that. Like, I've gone to everyone so far, and so far in the 2 years, so it's been three. No, I'll be going to my third. So the amount that you take out of these is way more than you'll spend on your plane ticket, on your hotel, your food, all of that stuff, right? If I didn't go to that one, I would have just been watching YouTube videos, and I don't know if I would have had the start that I did. So if you guys are doing this and this is a career for you, a job for you, you guys have to go. It's not even a question. You know, and I kind of joke around about this, but I honestly feel like if you don't go, you should probably find something else to do work-wise, because you're not that serious about this. This business, this company, everything's very simple, but it is hard, right? It is hard work. It's a hard way to make an easy living. Like, we make a lot of money. Some of us can make a lot of money if we just follow the system. So if you guys aren't sure what to do or how to take it to the next level for yourself, there's no better way to do that than going to convention. And don't go to Miami and think you're going to go to the beach and party. You're not going to get as much out of it. You need to go and you need to soak it all in, and you need to meet as many people as you possibly can there that have what you guys want. That's literally all I've done since I started. Like, I sat down beginning of December and I decided what I wanted for 2023, and I reached out to people that already are doing that, and I'm ready to go. I have everything in order. I know exactly. I've changed my leads, how much I'm spending, how much time I'm going to put in, what I'm going to do, right? And I did that through talking to other people that are already doing that. You guys can go to convention, you can meet those people in person, and they will all help you out as long as you're serious and you're going to put in the activity and you're not just wasting their time. So any of you guys that want this, like I do, you got to go. It's not even a question.
Yeah. And Riad, I think that sometimes people think this is like a small little sales conference. Can you talk about like the event itself, like honestly, where it's at, how many people are going to be there, like just the amount of training, and then also how much it costs?
Yeah, so Lone Depot Stadium, right? Where who plays there? Dolphins, right? Marlins. Okay. Massive stadium, obviously. I think last year.
Fish.
Yeah, some fish. Last year, I think we had was like 14,000 people. And I mean, that's a lot of people that's a lot of, for me, I've never been to anything like that unless it was like a sporting event, not career-wise. Any sort of conference or whatever I've done for past careers hasn't even been close to that. And we have guest speakers who cost Sean and FFL a lot of money. They're going out there. Last year we had Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank, who was awesome. Dave Anderson. Yeah, so many people. It's a good way for you guys to not only meet people, but you know, we're all going to be there. So it's a good way for you to meet us and get around the people that are on Zoom with you every single day, doing what you want to do, right? So the convention is free, right? Doesn't cost you anything. You just have to get there, right? So for me, I booked all my stuff a while ago. I think it's going to cost in total one policy to get there. So you guys work, you sell one policy and you're set. And that event is, people would pay probably 10, 15, 20 grand to go to that thing, to be very honest. I mean, the amount of value that I've took out of the ones that I have has made me a lot more than what I've spent to go to the last one and what I'll spend to go to this one.
Yeah, Riad, and just to kind of reiterate what you said, guys, a lot of these, like, and I'm not going to hate on anybody or name drop anybody, but guys, these podcasters and these people that are like Instagram famous and they think that they're like your business coaches and they tell you like, here's how you get rich. If you go to a convention for them, they charge you literally between $5,000 to $7,000 to $10,000 to go to a convention where they tell you how to do stuff that they haven't done, which is actually pretty crazy. One, that people pay that amount, but two, that like, just, I don't know, that people believe that they can show them, they can do something that they've never done, right? So guys, this is going to be everybody, like Riad said, that has had success here at Family First Life, and also the people that have had failures. And what's cool about it, guys, is they're going to tell you all about it and about how they overcame it, what they went through, why would their system work for them, why so many systems within FFL work. And basically you're going to see people, guys, it's not a seniority thing. You're not going to go and see on the stage, oh my goodness, just Mark Mead and Mike Kilmet because they've been here since the, you know, conception of the company. You're going to see people on stage who've been here 6 months and are absolutely crushing it. So you're bound to relate to somebody there. So Riad, yeah. I think, go ahead.
If your belief is at all not 100% in this and you go there, it will after you go there. And if it's not, then at least you know that this business is not for you. It's that simple. Because when I went to my first one and I saw all those people on stage and they said, I'm making 30, 40, 50 grand a month. I looked at those people and I said, those people are no better than me. I can do this. Literally, that's it. And when you guys go to this, you will see that as well. There are people that have helped 1,000 families this year that are not special. They're just doing different stuff than you are, than I am doing. That's it. Same 100%. System, they're just applying themselves differently.
All right, guys, let's transition. Riad, thank you so much. I want to get really real and I'm about to make you maybe really uncomfortable. So you hit Hall of Fame this year, 2022. Now, I remember last year at the beginning of 2022, you were like, that is my goal. I'm not stopping, guys. Okay, so this isn't like from the start of when Riad started in a calendar year, January 1st to December 31st, whatever the FFL weeks are. And Riad, up until this last month, was still like, I'm not going to back down on my goal. I set the goal, which I want to talk about goal setting and going into 2023. But Riad, just to be really sort of candid with people on here, you know, your comp is very high. You work your butt off. What have you, and remember guys, he's been here less than 2 years. So your first actual full year here with Family First Life.
Last year I started in March, and keep in mind, learning curve, right? So March to December. And that was my best year financially ever at any job. This year, I already knew what to do. My convention, just all the reps that I put in, I set a goal for myself of Hall of Fame. And I think after all is said and done, without bonuses, it's my best year ever. So last year when I joined, it was my best year ever. 2022, my best year ever. So honestly, life-changing. Life is very different than 2 years ago. I can say that for sure, because of Family First Life.
Life-changing. And Rihanna, and I think the reason that I bring it up is because like, it's almost like you need to hear it. Like where you grew up, where I grew up, like that is doctor lawyer money on I just went and took a 100 question multiple choice test and got my state license type education, right? Like this is not, and that's what I want to get across to people. Like this doesn't have to be a hobby. It doesn't have to be your part-time gig. It doesn't have to be, sometimes I sell insurance on the weekends to get my kids some extra Christmas presents. Like this doesn't have to be that 1 foot in, 1 foot out business, right? Riad, like, and if you imagine if every single person did what you did and was like, hey, here's my goal. I'm going to make this business change my life instead of, letting the business run me. I'm going to run it. Like truly, 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 how much, just honestly, and not to be weird, but just how much wealth could be created. Like,
Yeah.
guys, my mom waited tables her whole life. She made $23,000 a year and we thought like we were chilling, like we were good, right? Like this is not, and we all came from that place. And so I think that's so cool to actually just hear it out loud, right? People say Hall of Fame and he hasn't been in insurance for 10 years. It's kind of like, let that sink in. So Riad, I'd love for you to talk about, and I want to transition this into goal setting for 2023. Why you set that goal, why it was so important to you, why you didn't give up, right? Like a lot of people, and I'll be honest, Riad, sometimes I do that. I'll be like on Friday, I'm like, I'm starting a diet on Monday, but then like if there's, Cheetos on Monday, I'm not starting my diet on Monday. Like why did you not give up on your goal and the things that held you accountable to that goal the whole year?
Okay. So I think one of the things that I've been on my own for a long time, right? So number one, it's been me taking care of myself for a very long time. So I think that's one thing. I've never had it easy. So I've always had to produce something out of whatever I had. I think, so for me, like, obviously I want the financial freedom. I want to take care of my family. I think we all have like it's probably common for all of us. We all want that, but it's come down for me. It's in order for me to stick to my goals. It's no longer I'm setting a goal. It's no longer a New Year's resolution. It's not about how I feel, right? I want to hit something. So it's about discipline, right? And I'm not perfect, but I've gotten much better over the last 2 years. And I think we tend to talk a lot of crap, right? As humans. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. But then when we don't feel like doing the things that are going to get us there, we just don't do them, right? So for me this year, I felt like I made a promise to myself that I had to hit it. And then in May, I went to Dallas with you guys for the integrity meeting. And I was telling Sean that I'm going to hit it, right? And I'm telling him that I'm going to do 30 to 40 grand a month. So for me, if I don't do that, not only did I lie to myself, I lied to other people. Like it's not where I wanted to be right now going into the new year. So it was very important for me to accomplish that. And it was non-negotiable for me. So I said no to a lot of friends' parties and birthdays and get-togethers and even stuff with family. I said no to a lot of it last year to be able to hit this, right? And I'm still nowhere near where I want to be, but I think I just made a decision that I want a different life than I have, right? For me and my family. And nothing's going to stop me. And it's not about how I feel, how I don't feel. It's about just doing. Family First Life has given us literally a blueprint that if you just follow that day in and day out, you can get to where you want to be. For me, I just turned 39 like 4 days ago. My goal is to be financially free by the time I'm 40. So that's next year around this time. I have to get even more serious than I did last year. So there's going to be a lot more sacrifice this year. There's going to be a lot more learning this year. I'm going to spend more on leads. I'm going to talk to more people. I'm going to do whatever it takes. That way I don't feel like I lied to myself by the time I hit 40. telling myself I'm going to hit financial freedom. Now, if I don't hit it, it's okay, I'm human, but I can tell you by having that in my mind that even if I come up short, I will have another best year. I already know that. 2023 is going to be my best year again. So I don't know. It's hard to like actually say all this out loud because I've been saying it to myself for the last couple months. Like yesterday was not day one. Like I started day one a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So.
And Riad's so humble, I have to like pull his teeth out to get him to talk about himself. So that also helps. So, and guys, also that's another thing, another reason you got to go to annual convention is you get to see the people on our team and on our squad and just our family that we love, like Riad, are going to walk across the stage and get their red jacket. And we obviously all want to be there to support him. So Riad, one of the things that some people get, annoyed about it, they, we used to say this thing and we don't say it as much anymore. Rules and regulations and things like that of like, there's nothing special about Riad and that anybody can make that decision, and anybody on this call, anybody that watches the call in the future, anybody that's not even started with FFL, they don't even know FFL is a thing yet, that anybody can make the decision that you made and can accomplish what you accomplished. Do you think that that's true? Do you think that if people buckle down the way that you buckle down, that they can accomplish whatever goal here that they have?
1000%, guys. 1000%. And honestly, I think it just goes back to what I was saying. It's just discipline. That's it. And we can tell you what to do, but it's going to be up to you. Right now it's the new year. We're all motivated, right? We're motivated for the new year, new you, right? We're all motivated, but motivation is not going to last, guys. It's going to be gone in hours, maybe 2 days, right? That's not what it's going to cut it. It's about discipline. So in order for you guys to hit Hall of Fame, it's simple. You buy enough leads for you to do 30 appointments a week. Okay. Now it's going to be up to you guys when you're actually dialing. Are you going to clock out at 4 or 5 p.m. when you only have 10 appointments? Or are you going to go until 9:30, 10 and people are yelling at you saying, hey, you're calling too late? Because that's what I did in the beginning, right? That is literally what I did. And I will still do it if I need to. If I don't hit my goals, there is no clock out and go to happy hour. There's no clock out and go hang out with my friends or family. This is non-negotiable for me, right? So it's going to come down to discipline. Every single person on this call, and there's 80 people on, guys, I'm not better than you, but I have made a decision that I'm going to go after what I want, and nothing is going to stop me, not even myself.
So Riad, what are your goals for this year, for 2023?
So we're going to do Hall of Fame by July. That's number one. Already figured it out. We need to spend $4,000 a week on leads. And we're going to do between 50 and 60 appointments a week. That's it. That's literally it's that simple. It's the math. I did Hall of Fame in 11 months. And I spent roughly 22 to 2,500 a week on leads.
Okay. And what about agency goals?
Agency, I was thinking about that today. So that's one where I always try and reverse engineer this stuff because it's once again, simple business, right? You can literally reverse engineer how many leads you need to buy, how much you need to work, yada, yada. So for team, I initially was like, okay, I'm going to go for 500,000 by December. And then I started thinking to myself, why am I shooting so low? Right? Why am I not shooting for something that is a bit far-fetched? And if I hit it, so I'm going for $1 million a month. And I know with team, it's a bit different. I know what I have to do to kind of get the ball rolling on that. But with team, you find someone that has a common goal as you, then you just duplicate yourself, right? So if I have to get 10 people into class a week, right, to get to a certain point, now I just need to find someone else that's going to do that, and then find another person that's going to do that. So even though in my mind initially I was like $1 million is a bit far-fetched, kind of reverse engineering it, I was thinking I could probably do 500,000. I said no, I'm gonna up it a bit. that way I really have to go hard this year, right?
That's gangster.
I'm so like excited for this. I feel like this is day one of me starting a brand new career, and you guys don't realize how blessed we are with this, right? It's really hard being broke, right? And success is really hard. This is one of my favorite sayings. Why on earth would you choose being broke if it's still hard? Why not bust your ass, give it everything you have, and be successful? It's hard either way, right? But money is going to make life a lot easier for you. In the last 2 years, I've been able to do things that I haven't been able to. I've been able to give more, which is huge to me, right? And I don't think about when I go and eat a dinner. I don't look at the menu and the price. No, I want something, I get it, right? And I'm able to do that for my friends and family as well.
Yeah, I love that.
Either way, it's hard, guys. Either way, it's hard. But I think if you choose the right hard, your life will change very fast here.
100%. And Riad too, what I want to talk about, guys, is that's just it. Like, no matter what, and we're not getting on here and tagging like, hey, everybody go hit Hall of Fame. That's not realistic, right? Like, we have one Hall of Fame producer in our whole agency, and it's Riad, right? Tobey last year was our only Hall of Fame producer. So like, oh, and Darlene Moore. So it's like, we're not saying that has to be your goal. What we're saying is whatever your goal is, one, it is achievable. And that's the first step, is just believing that you actually can have it. Okay. Like, believing that you can get to wherever you want to, and then actually going out and getting it. Right. Like, that's what Riad said. Being broke is hard and making money is hard. So like, what's it going to be? They're both going to be hard. You can sacrifice a lot and have to have long nights and early mornings and buying leads and clients hanging up on you extra time. And you can be in a place where you feel comfortable, or you can have all those things still happening, but be so inconsistent, right? So, and it's almost like, guys, I was saying this the other day, and I think I was talking about it with somebody about what flipped for me, right? And when we talk about this stuff, guys, we talk about it from experience. So Riad talked about some of the things he did at the beginning. Guys, at the beginning, I was like this. Okay. My first 6 months in the business, I was like, sell a bunch of policies, spend a lot of money, sell a bunch of policies, take 3 weeks off, sell a bunch of policies, super inconsistent, right? Got a bunch of chargebacks. Then I would go on vacation and, buy all my friends happy hour when none of us were happy, right? It's like, this is sad hour because you're just went broke and you have no money in your bank account. This is not happy hour. Okay. But it was like, and the thing for me, guys, is I'm very competitive as well. But like, I got tired of myself. Right. I got tired of myself letting negativity into my life. I got tired of myself letting people talk down to me about what I could and couldn't do. I got tired of looking around and seeing people that had the exact same resources as me. Right. Like 2 years ago, I would have hated Riad because I would have been like, dude, I'm tired of watching Riad make 250 grand a year. And he has the same leads as me, same comp as me, same availability of counties, same state license. Like, he has everything. I'd been like, Riad's not smarter than me. He's not, like, he doesn't have more experience than me, right? Like, we had the same amount of experience coming into insurance, which is 0. So I got tired of watching people like Riad, and I love him, but I got tired of watching people like that I knew were not better than me, do better than me. Because why? They wanted it more. They were more disciplined than me. They set their goals and they actually went out and got it. So who was I mad at? I was mad at me. Right. So like, at some point, guys, and that can be today, it can be next week. Maybe it happened last week. Maybe it is a new year. I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions, because I think whenever you're fed up with yourself, like me, every time I've ever made a change, it was because I was just fed up with myself. I was fed up with watching Riad do so amazing and thinking, why not me? Why can't that be me? And then having to be accountable to myself and be like, it's not you, Marissa, because you're standing in your way. It's not you, Marissa, because you're not doing what Riad's doing. Right. And that was my first thing too, guys. I've been there. I was like, oh, Riad just has good leads. Like, Riad must have more hours in the day than me. You know what? Like, Riad doesn't have a dog and I have a dog, so I can't do what Riad's doing because like I got to take care of him, right? Riad probably has a nicer car than me. And it was like, no, Riad works harder than you, Marissa. Stop whining. Riad dials the phone more than you. Riad buys more leads than you. Riad says no to more partying on Friday night than you do. Riad doesn't go to happy hour with his friends every single day. Marissa, Riad goes to the gym and wakes up early and wakes up at 5, and you wake up at 7:30. right? Like all those little things, guys, like the person that you're mad at when you get fed up with yourself, like that's who you're mad at. That's who I was mad at. And then you'd be surprised whenever you flip a switch, then you're like, oh my goodness, it was never them. It was never they were never lucky. They were never better than me. They were never smarter than me. They were doing things that I wasn't willing to do. So Riad, I love your goals. I'm super, super proud of you and everything you've accomplished, guys. The other thing is Riad's an amazing leader. He's hardcore, but he is ready to build his agency, build his team, and be able to teach and lead people to do what he's done. But what I'd love to do, guys, is just, and I'm going to write these down and we have this recorded, so don't be messing around. No, I'm just kidding. But what I'd love to do is I'm not going to force anybody, but if anybody would like to unmute themselves and just share what their goals are for 2023 and what they're trying to accomplish, and you just, or just even something that you're grateful for, I'd love for anybody is welcome to do that.
Can I ask Riad a question?
You can ask them a question.
So what's a good, if you're starting part-time, what would be a good part-time goal? Because basically I can just run business on Saturday and Sunday, but I have like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to dial at 4:45 Eastern time till whenever. Monday, Tuesday, I'm trying to get my own landing page for some Texas leads that somebody's setting up for me. So I'll do that then. But what would you say a good realistic goal would be part-time for the first 3 months, doing it part-time?
You trying to get away from what you're doing, your other job?
Yes, eventually that's the goal. But I think to walk away, you should probably be able to say, what, you want to at least write 15 to 20K a month for 3 months in a row before you step away, or 20K something. What would you do?
So for me, man, when I was at my job almost 7 years, and my last year there, I did 150. So I wasn't in a bad spot, right? I knew what I was doing. It was sales, but I was very unhappy there. And I felt like I was building someone else's dream. When I saw this business model, I felt like I could pour all of that blood, sweat, and tears, and it was for me. So long term, I would get to where I want to a lot faster. So number one, have the goal of you want to quit your job ASAP, right? And you're going to do whatever it takes to do that. It's what I did. Then you have to come up with a plan of how many hours can you pour into this, right? So you're going to have to be very, very intentional with whatever time that you do have, right? So, and I truly mean that. If you have kids, a family, whatever, you need to communicate with them that, hey, when I get home from work, I'm going to be working more, right? And I love you, but you cannot interrupt me, right? And you got to stay off social media and all that stuff. So for me, I had a goal to get out of my job. So I would work my full day, and then I would dial a bit at night. And then I would try and run appointments because I was doing all in person. I'd try and run appointments whenever I could. And then on the weekends I was off. So I would do the bulk of my appointments during that time. Now I'm a risk taker, and I also am the type that goes all in on something, right? So for me, when I was doing it part-time, I didn't like it. So what I did is I never took PTO at my other job. So I put in 2 weeks of PTO, and I said, I'm going to hit my goal with this. So I put PTO in, and I literally dialed 12, 13 hours every single day in between appointments, no shows, whatever. I did all of that to be able to get out of my job, right? So my first month, I think I did 20. And from there, I was like, okay, the system works. Now I have the belief in myself. I don't need to do it 2 more months in a row before I quit. I went 3 weeks in, and I went to my managers. I said, hey, I quit. Here's my 2 weeks notice. And they didn't believe me because I was one of the top producers over there. But I knew this system worked. And dude, you know this system works, right? You're watching other people sell. You've sold.
Yes.
So it's the only thing that's holding you back is the time that you can't put into this right now. So obviously we all have bills to pay. I have a mortgage, right? So I wasn't just going to quit my job unless I knew this worked, but I knew this worked because I saw the deposits hit my account. And then from there, it was just believing in me, right? So I had no problem quitting after month 1, even though I had a secure job with health benefits and all that stuff. So I literally quit. I had no insurance for a month, and I'm like, I'm all in. let's do this. Second month, did 40 grand. If I didn't take that risk and that chance and believe in myself, I'd still be at that job, right? So for you, I think just come up with a goal if you want to leave. And dude, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. That's it. If you want this, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off, right? Be smart about it, but for me, part-time wasn't good enough. So I went all in as fast as I could.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you, Riad. I have a question. So to run 30 appointments in a week, making 12, 13-hour calls, 12, 13-hour days of calls, how did you structure it? I mean, where did you work the appointments in? Were you all telesales? Were you in homes? Did you duplicate yourself? Realistically, how did you do that?
Good question. So when we started, Family First Life wasn't doing telesales. So I started 23 months, I think I said. 23 months ago, Family First Life was not doing telesales. Some people were, but they were not vocal about it at all, right? It wasn't until October of last year that we started being hardcore about it. So I went an entire 7 months of doing in-home before I even tried on the phone. And keep in mind, I have a telesales background. Like I was used to selling over the phone. So for me, and it's going to depend on your goals, like Marissa said, right? Not everyone wants to do Hall of Fame. And you guys, some of you want to just do like 10, 15 grand a month and you're good with that. For me, I want to work really hard for the next few years. And then I want to spend time with my friends and family. Right? Those are my goals. So as far as the appointments, when I started, and this was part of me getting out of my job, I knew I was going to have to do whatever it took, right? So I would clock in. They told me 8 a.m. I'd have everything ready to go. I would clock in 8 a.m. and I would dial from 8 until the job was done. There was no clock out at a certain time. I would literally for lunch, I'd grab something microwaved. I'd eat it at my desk in like 5 minutes, and then I would grind the rest of the day. So we're talking 12, 13 hours of almost straight dialing to get those appointments. And I remember my first day very vividly. I dialed that much, 13 hours. And I think I set 8 appointments. That was my first dial session. So I didn't start out as well as I'm doing now, guys. It took me a lot of activity and reps, but I told myself I can either do this casually and get good at it in like 9-10 months, or I can do a bulk of the work right away, every day, and get really good at this in 1 to 2 months. Right? How many of you guys have heard people say, hey, do your first 100 appointments and you'll be good, right? Everyone should have heard that. That's what I heard. And I wanted to knock that thing out in the first month. It took me a month and a half. But after that, dude, I knew exactly what to do. You guys know exactly what to do. It's just rinse, repeat, buy more leads, keep learning. That's it. So I started doing telesales in October because we started doing it. I'm like, hey, I used to do this. I can do good. And my closing percentage went down. And I was like, no, we're not having that. So I went back in the field. So January through May of this year, I was in the field, right? Because I knew what I could do in the field. It's much easier in the field, guys. Promise you. Like on the phone, it is a skill set that you got to learn. But for me, I want to build an agency. That's been my goal since day one here. And instead of me going out in the field, I told myself what I'm going to do is when I get no-showed or no sailed or someone shuts me down, or doesn't answer, whatever, I'm going to put that time and effort into recruiting. Right now, I did not start doing telesales because I thought it was going to be easier, because it's not easier. Instead of me driving, I'm dialing the phone more appointments, right? So it's not easier. If you guys are looking for easy, it's certainly not easy. But and who was asking those questions?
Latrice.
I did, because I wanted to understand, the 2 dial days and working in 30 appointments in home. I just really want to understand logistically how you managed it all.
In the home, Monday was 8 a.m. and some people start at 7:30. So you guys can start at 7:30, 8 a.m. But if your goal is 15, Patrice, it's literally 8 a.m. until you have 15. Right? That's it. That's literally it. And then Thursday, it's 8 a.m. until you have 15 for Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
If you have 10 and you clock out, that's on you. If you have 12 or 14 and you clock out, you didn't do the job, right? So for me, I didn't have a choice. And it's not always going to happen, right? You're going to fall short. So what I did was, let's say I set 12 and it's like 9:30. Well, I'm 3 short. So now I know my 2 run days when I'm out in the field, whenever I get no-showed or no-sailed and I have time, I'm in my car at the local grocery in the parking lot, I'm dialing
Okay.
to set those 3 appointments.
So Riad, were you trying to do 7 appointments one day and 8 the next day?
Yeah, I would do 8 and 7, and sometimes it would be more, right? So that's another thing is for me, if I had 15 appointments and it was 2 p.m., why am I going to stop? I might as well stack the deck in my favor even more. Same thing for
Okay.
you guys is if you go above and beyond what you guys want to do, right? So if you have 15, and like I said, if you're done at like 2 p.m., a lot of people on this call will clock out and go do something fun. Dude, are you really that serious about becoming financially free if you're doing something like that? No, for me, for me, typically it was like 7 and 8. But if I came up short, and I was strategic about it, so I would set so if I'm dialing on on Monday, and I'm setting for Tuesday, Wednesday, I would fill up my Wednesday first, and then I would fill up the latter half of my Tuesday, leaving myself like a window of 8 a.m. to like noon to be able to dial. That way, if I did fall short, I could spend that time dialing and then go out in the field. Does that help? Hopefully.
No, that helps tremendously. Thank you. I needed to be able to visually see it. It's so good.
30 appointments a week is what you need to hit Hall of Fame. If you just do that, and you're going to get better, guys. That's the thing. This is like, it's such a beautiful thing. The more you put into this, you're going to get better, and your ROI, your return on investment, is going to get higher, right? So there's no way, if you set 30 appointments a week, there's no way that you're not going to get better. You're going to get better. You're going to start making more money.
And what's your close ratio like with your 30 appointments?
In the home, it was like 90%. If I sat down at a table, they were buying insurance. That's in the home though. That's when you can literally sit down with someone and you can paint a very, very vivid picture for them. And I'm big on this. Anyone that knows me, like selling is all emotion. If you're not building the emotion and you're going to numbers, you're doing it wrong, right? So for me in person, I'd have people crying in front of me. I've even teared up in front of people. I'm like, holy cow, your story. Like, so for me, when I sat down with someone, they were getting insurance, right? On the phone, it's probably like 60%. Still good, but it ain't no 90%.
Right.
So, and
you
got to do a lot more, right? Plus the no-shows are a lot higher on the phone. And it's a lot easier for someone to be like, oh, I don't like the sound of your voice. Click. Can't do that in person. Now you will get occasionally you're knocking on the door and they're staring at you through the window and they literally won't open the door. You're like, okay. But I mean, for any of you that like want to do this, but let's say you want to do telesales, I personally would go in the field first, unless it's not an option. Some people it's not an option, but I personally would go in the field first, knock out 100 appointments, and you learning telesales is going to be a lot easier.
And also, just to reiterate that, guys, everything, and say what you want, this is a fact of life, everything is less stressful with money in your account. So that's what I always say too, guys. On the phone, I think anybody can learn it, just like anybody can do in the home, but in the home is easier, right? So you don't have to know anything. I didn't even know I was selling life insurance my first 3 appointments. I didn't even know what the heck we were doing. And I was able to sell a point. I was like, oh, you're getting life insurance. That's what I thought I was here for. That's what I was thinking. So like you can fumble through appointments when you're in the home and you can make money. right? Whereas on the phone, just like Riyadh said, if they even think that they don't like you for a second, they're going to hang up onto you. They're going to hang up on you. Okay. So I always say too, if you're coming straight out of the gate and you're like, I'm definitely only doing telesales, it's going to be more stressful because you don't have money in your account. Right now, the reality is if you go out in the home and you do 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 grand and put that in your account, then when you're on the phones, you're not going to be as stressed, right? It's like commission breath, guys. The clients can tell when you have it, you know, when you have it, I know when you have it, you know, when it's the 25th and you got to pay your rent on the first, guys. Going in the home is always, 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 no matter who you are. If you go in the home and you're willing to commit to it, you will close sales. On the phone, you'll be a lot more stressed, right? You cannot sit down today and think, oh my goodness, I need to make 5 grand in the next 2 days. It's not going to happen on the phone. The phone is very iffy. So just to kind of put that on too, Riyadh, just to top
Yeah.
that off, is like,
There's
you're going to
a
be
lot of-
less stressed if you
there's
have
a
money in
lot-
your account.
a lot of pros and cons to each. It's just going to come down to like, neither is easier. And I think that's why people want to do telesales. So they can sit at home in their pajamas. It's not, if you're going to do it right, it's not easy. It's not. I'm honestly working more than I did last year when I was in the field. A lot of that time was spent driving. If you want to, count that as work, but yeah. Any other questions?
All right, we got time for one more. Whoever unmutes the fastest.
I've got one.
Oh.
I'm listening. I had a bad accident with the shaving razor and I stopped to be on this call. So you have my full attention, but you're not getting my camera. If there was one thing that you could tell yourself back when you first started, what would that be?
One thing, oh man. I feel like even like reflecting on 2022, and I think this, and I don't know, it's probably like this for a lot of you, but dude, I left so much on the table, so much in the tank in 2022. And that bugs me now because 2022 is done, right? Yes, I had a good year. Yes, I hit Hall of Fame, but I could have done so much more, right? So for me, it would, and I'm constantly telling myself this every day, truly go all in, right? Truly go all in. You don't have to ignore your family and stuff like that, but stop hanging out with the people that don't bring you value. Spend that time on this. Stop going out to the happy hours and parties, and so just stop for like a couple years, not forever. Just stop for a couple years and give yourself a chance, right? Because I'm telling you right now, when I look at my bank account, I'm not trying to be like have an ego. When I look at my bank account, I do not regret missing out on going out to happy hours and hanging out with the people that don't bring me value. I don't regret it. And I don't think you guys will either. So for me, it would just be go all in even more, right? Because I'm not perfect. Like, trust me, I have squirrel syndrome, like, especially like doing telesales. I'll be doing my laundry and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Get back on the phone, right? So I think that's probably the biggest thing is just truly go all in. Like this opportunity, guys, it's unlike, I have friends that are doing very well in life. And I know if I keep going at the pace that I'm going, I'm going to surpass them. And I never would have thought that was possible 2 years ago. And I'm talking about people that are making insane money. Just seeing what is possible here. Like, you guys don't understand, like, every time you sell a permanent policy, you build a residual income, right? And that stacks every year. So going into 2023, we're getting paid on stuff that we sold in 2022, right? What other job does that for you? I don't know of one, right? So what I'm telling myself right now is go all in even more. You have so much more in the tank. Put it all on the table. No excuses, no feelings. I don't want to feel, I just want to do. It's just actions. That's it. I have it laid out for myself. Like I said, I have it laid out for myself. Now it's just a matter of doing it every single day. That's it.
100%. All right, guys. Well, with that, Riad, thank you so much. This has been phenomenal, guys. Again, and also last thing I just want to hit on, guys, is you're not in this alone. Like we have 75 people on here right now. We had 80 at the beginning that are here to help you. You have people like Riad, myself, all your agency managers in your corner, people even that are much better than us and are much more experienced than us, you know, Andrew, Grady, Sean, everybody. Do not feel like there's a reason we do this, guys. We're in this together. So if you need help, do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to text me or Riad or any of us. Say, hey, I need help. I just need to know how to do this. Just need to get this strategy down. We are in your corner, guys. So with that being said, I'm proud of you guys. I love you guys. Riad, thank you so much. And I am very, very excited for this year, and let's crush it. Good night, guys.